Okay, this is part 2 to this card. This is part 2 to this card. We're going to color our little gnomes now in this video. Super easy. They're already stamped for you. I used Lawn Fawn black, jet black premium ink pad. This is great with copics. So I'm coloring mine with copic markers. You can do the same thing with colored pencils. There's several different ways you can color it, but I'm going to do mine with copics. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. We're going to start with the little girl here. I always start with the darkest color first. Today I'm starting with, oh, it's blurry, sorry. This is YG17. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do some shadows. This doesn't quite look dark enough. I'm going to actually go back to a actual green. Let's do green, G9. So we're going to go in here with our shadows with G9. And I know that this piece is coming up over this piece. This is hanging over this. So this is all going to be shadowy here. This is all shadowy here. And then I'm going to go to the sides so that that's that, okay? And then I want her dress to be the lighter greens with the darker. So I'm going to go back to that one that I didn't like before. This is the one that I'm going to use for the darks on the dress. So we're going to go dark, shadows. I'm going to put a little bit in here so that this is all shadowy. Her sleeves I'm actually going to leave. I might make them red on this one. Okay, and then this is my middle color. So I'm going to go in here and try to mix this dark green and bring out a little bit further. So the more ink you put, the more blending you're going to have and less marker streaks. So if you just go in here and go like this, you're going to have where you can see that distinct line. If you go more over those colors, then that dark color blends with the lighter color. And that's the trick to the copic markers. The alcohol inks are made to blend. So you want to use that ink to your advantage. So you've got your shadows, you're going to go in here and color it. And then you want to go over those lines a little bit more so that those colors blend and become one. Then it looks like not markered colored in, but printed almost. It looks like it's been printed in a printing company or printing. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my lightest yellow, which is YG07. And that's what I'm going to finish this dress up with. So I can go in here. If there are any parts of your tree that you wanted really highlighted, that's when you can go in here and do these. I didn't really leave a whole lot for that, so no big deal. I wanted it to match, but not match. Not matchy. Old married couple match. Now I'm going to take some yellow. I'm going to color a couple of these in the star yellow. And I'm going to use some blue to do the same thing. Oh, I forgot the little holly leaves. So we're going to go in here and color in some holly leaves. And then I'm going to take some red and finish off these balls. There we go. Okay, and these also. Now, her hair is going to be brownish reddish. So I'm just going to go in there and color her hair. You can do it multiple colors if you want, but I don't care enough about shadows and stuff on the hair today, so I'm just going to do those. We need some skin tones. So she's going to be my lightest of them all. So the shadows are going to be E34. Oops, wrong side of my pen here. I'm going to go under her nose and around her nose. I'm going to go around her cheeks and under her chin. I'm going to do this little piece and a little bit of her hands. That looks like a beard right now. Now I'm going to go in with a lighter peach color. Just blend all those shadows so they just look like shadows. They don't look like a beard. They look shadowy after you blend them in. And then I always go back, when I'm doing whites, I go in with a light gray and put in some shadows on the white so that the white even looks a little more like not just a flat white. Okay, because that gives it some dimension. And then her shoes are going to be brown. I'm picking a different color brown, but you could do the same color as her hair if that's what you want to do. Okay, so she is done. Other than I am going to go back with, this is one of my favorite things in my workroom. It's a jelly roll. This is the, I don't even know what they call it. It's just a sparkly clear. It's actually a clear pen, and whatever you draw on, it makes it sparkly. Used to be able to find these everywhere, but now I think you can still find them at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You can certainly, I'm sure, order them, but it's from Jelly Roll. Works great. Maybe that number is important, so maybe it's the 38450 number, but it's just a clear sparkle pen, almost like Wink of Stella, but more like an ink and not like a watercolor. Okay, so the next one we're going to do mostly red. So I have a darker red. We're going to go in here and do these dark shadows on this side. I want all of the shadows on this side. Oops, I meant to go every other one and I didn't, so I guess his whole hat's going to be red because I messed him up. The original one, his hat is red, white, red, white, red, white. So we'll just see how this turns out. It might look different, but we'll just, I mean, obviously it's going to look different. So shadows, thinking about shadows. This ball is going to create a shadow. This beard is going to create a shadow. Okay, those are the darks. And then we'll go in with some lights. A middle color red. So we can blend that dark red over a little bit. And then I'm going to do all of his suit red. Okay, and then the third red, the lightest red that we have, these are not very much of a difference, but they're enough. They're enough for these little guys. They're not they're focal point, but they're not like a major part of the card. I mean, you know, it's not him on there alone. So there's lots of other things to look at on this particular card. So I'm not going to be overly particular with, of course, the more detail you get, the more wow effect you get from your friends that are looking at your cards. But all right, then I'm going to go back to one of my greens. I try to use a lot of the same greens and the same reds so that there's some cohesiveness through my pictures. So that when you're looking at it, you see the same green in the same way somewhere else. You don't have to do that, of course, but that's just one of the things I do. It brings like I said, a cohesive, brings it all together. And then the same yellow that I used for those dots, I'm just going to go in here and color the rest of this. Now, he is my mid-tone, so I'm going to give him a little bit more of a darker shadow on him. I want him, so all of this, his hands, and then go in with my the dark shadow that I used on her. So, because I want him to be just a little bit darker. He's not quite as pale as her, so we've got some different skin tones. I like to do that. And then on his beard, I used W's, which are the warm grays. So my darkest, I'm going to go in and do my shadows, and I just kind of flick. On hair, I always do a flicking motion if I can. So you're going to press a little harder down and then just kind of flicks up. And there's always a little bit of a shadow. So that's W4. The next color is going to be W2. I like to skip a number. Copic does a really good job of doing it that way anyway, in a lot of ways, but there are a lot of consecutive numbers too. But I find, and the Copic teacher experts will tell you, that if you skip a couple color numbers, that's usually a pretty good blending tone thing. Okay, and then the last one is W. I'm going to do W1 just to do some of these really light ones. If you want some white in there, you can leave some white. It just makes them look a little, that white gray instead of, but this guy, I wanted him to look kind of old and dirty gray, so you got the dirty grays. And then go back to your greens. I think these are actually white on mistletoe, but I'm going to do them white, green, and I think I'll do a yellow bow. Okay, so there's your second gnome. Your third gnome, my third gnome, I'm going to do all blues. The snowflakes kind of lend themselves to look like blue. So I'm going back to the same blue I used on her balls, on her bulbs, and we're going to put in some shadows. Now I don't want to go too dark on my shadows because I don't want it to hide those snowflakes that are so cute on his hat. So we're going to just do that. And then I think his outfit shows a little here, a little here. I think this is actually his outfit, his little jumpsuit. And then we're going to go to a mid-tone blue. That one was 29. This one's 24. I like the small tip. And again, if you go in circular and the more ink you lay down, the better they blend. Blend, blend, blend. Don't forget to blend on his arms. And then lastly, your lightest blue, which is going to be 23. And on this one, I'm going to go in this because I want to make it kind of look like the hat is round. So I'm kind of going side to side so that if I do have any pen marker marks, then they look like they're going with the hat. I'm gonna just do, so his hair, I'm going with the cooler grays, not the warm grays, which are a little more brown, but the cooler grays. So the darkest is C4. And then we're going to go with C2. They're just a little bit on the bluer side, not so brown. Forgot his beard, his mustache, that's okay. And then there's that last, just to give it, you can leave it white if you want. So there's more of that silver, my dad calls it his silver nickel hair. And then we're going to go in and do our browns again. And this one I think I'm going to make, not really sure what color I want to make him. I think I'll go in with my shadows with this color. And I think I'll do really pinky, peachy. E1. This is just, I just had bought these, just a different tip of marker. Oh, you guys haven't been watching this whole time. I didn't even look up at my phone. I'm sorry. Hopefully you got to see some of that. I don't have to redo this video. Okay, and we're going to do his shoes brown. The bowl, the bell on his head is a silver. Okay. And then again, I'm going to go in with this pen and I'm going to put some sparkle on this ball. Maybe a little on this bow. I'm going to go in here and do, I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up, but in real life it looks great. So just gives it a little bit of sparkle. Okay, so there's our gnomes all colored in. Hopefully that last one was on video. I'll have to go back and watch. So stay tuned. We're going to fussy cut these out. Just with scissors, cut them out. and that way, and I always leave a nice white. That way you're not really fussy cutting because nobody's going to notice that white. So I don't go between all these leaves. I don't go up here into this area. That's all one piece. Okay, so I'm going to fussy cut them and I'll meet you guys back to put the whole card together. Thanks.